Hi everyone, I'm Bush Ninja. Welcome to my medicine blanket. For my first little video during this time where we all have to stay inside, I've decided to broadcast my blanket here to you all. And I decided to show you one of the most simple tools and techniques that any herbalist should know. And that's how to make a tincture. And a lot of times we'll buy these little bottles in the shops for $12 to $15, and you can really make a significant amount for yourself for a fraction of the price. And so what a tincture is, often used inaccurately in other forms, but what a tincture technically is an extraction in alcohol specifically. A lot of times we can use many different kinds of alcohol, but a lot of times we stick to vodka. I like to use vodka because it's clear when you start, and then so you can really see that the chemistry occur. You can see the phytochemicals, the plant chemicals, as they go into the jar. I've got a nice blue jar here. Colored glass is nice to help protect the contents from the exposure of the sun. And I'm just going to show you how easy this is. Now, it's really as simple as putting the plants in the jar and putting the alcohol on top of it. But we want to do a little more work than that, because we're going to try to create something that we can recreate. And so it's not so much how to do it the one time, it's as I make this medicine and as I work with it in my body, it's how I can recreate another batch when I find out what works for me dosage-wise or how strong I need it. So the plant we're going to use today is called mullein. Mullin's a really great plant for the lungs. It's a bronchodilator, so it helps open up closed bronchioles. And a really wonderful plant for lung tonic medicine. And so it's already pretty chopped up here, but I'm going to show you a trick that I've learned, which is to take, if it's chopped up or not, you want to chop it up. You can put it right in the jar, and then a pair of scissors actually goes a real long way. I learned this on my journeys in South Africa. This is how a lot of folks will chop up various herbs, is just with a pair of scissors. And so you want to chop things up pretty fine. You don't need to grind it into a very fine powder, because then it can be hard to filter at the end. But you want to make sure that it gets pretty chopped up. Now, the three things that go into any extraction, whether you're doing it in water or oil or alcohol like a tincture, it's like this little triangle I created. And you can see here there's the amount of time that it's in the jar, the ambient temperature, or if you choose to heat it, and the degree of exposure, which means how chopped up it is and how much you shake it and stuff. So any kind of extraction you're going to do follows these three things. If you add more temperature, like right now we're here in South Florida, these things happen a little faster. You have less time. If you have plenty of time, you can do a cold extraction, which is what I prefer to do for most of my extractions. And of course, the more chopped up it is and the more you shake or agitate it, the better the extraction occurs. So how we do a tincture, kind of they call it the Folk method or the ratio method for replication. I'm going to do the same method here in the jar, but I'm going to show you on the paper first. I've got a jar, and I'm going to fill it half full with plants. And then I'm going to fill it completely full with alcohol. So I have 1 part plants, 2 parts alcohol. And you want to indicate on the label whether the plants were dry or fresh when you put them in there, because that affects volume and other things inside the plant. And again, we're doing this so we can recreate what we're making. And so it's just that simple. You write the label out as a ratio of 1 to 2 in this case, dry or fresh, but in this case dry. Vodka is what we're going to use. I've got this really nice gluten-free happy vodka. The percent alcohol, 40% for vodka, and then the date, and of course the name of the plant, so in this case mullein. And so I'm just going to go ahead and show you how that goes. So simply, I'm just going to fill up the jar half full. Now, you want to tamp it down a little bit, because there is air in between the things, and we want to make sure that it's an actual half full of dry plant matter. Now, it's a pretty rough process. I call it kitchen chemistry. You don't have to be measuring things too hard. It's a volumetric ratio. So I don't know if you can see in there. Looks like a little bit more. A little bit falls on the ground, that's fine. So you can see, and I just tamp it down just like that. And I see a little bit bigger chunks in there, so I'm gonna give it a quick scissoring. And you can immediately see it fluffs right up when I do this. So this is why you tamp it down so you can get all the air out. Well, as much as you can. It's obviously not all the air out, but you want it to be representative of the actual volume. Sometimes, or another way, if you want to be more technical, you can weigh and do a ratio of weights, but I find it's not necessary, especially if you're just making medicine for yourself and your family. This is adequate. So that's half full with plant matter. You may or may not see it, but it's about right there. Then I'm gonna take my gluten-free, kosher, vegan, all-natural Barton's vodka, and I'm just gonna pour it in, just like this. Now, whenever you're filling a jar like this, you don't want to fill it to the very, very top. Go to that first line. If you go to the very, very top, you need to leave what's called head space, essentially, because things can expand when it gets hot. And you don't want, I've had jars leak on me and things. So that's it. You just fill that up, put the cap on, make sure you fill the label out right away. And so in this case, we've got 1 to 2, well, right, Mullen, M-U-L-L-E-I-N, and then 1:2, dry, vodka, 40%, and then the date. 40%, and then the date. And that's it. That's how you make a tincture. It's just that easy. And so with this bottle of vodka costs $12, and you imagine 1 ounce of this Mullen tincture, and I just looked online before I started this video. It's about $15 for an ounce of Mullen tincture, and it was a 1 to 4, which means only a quarter of the jar actually had plant matter in it when they made it. So I just made something that's twice as strong for a much smaller fraction of the cost of making it. And that's why I like practical herbalism, and that's why I want you guys to know how to do this. So you can do this with almost any plant that you want to make a tincture out of. This is how you tincture it. Thanks for watching, and thanks for coming to my medicine blanket.